Thank you for joining us live on KEXP. I'm Cheryl Waters, and I'm so excited to be down here in the KEXP studios with Tim Bernardis. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you making time to stop by. I know you've been very busy out on tour, playing tons of shows, and you look amazing, and I am so in love with your new album. It's Mil Coisas Invisíveis?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Great, yeah. Thank you so much for having me here.
Well, I'm so happy that you're here and more excited even that you're going to be playing songs from that beautiful new album. You want to start us off with a few?
Yes, let's do it. Meu bem, não chore. Agora nem tem mais o que fazer. Respire fundo, com calma tudo vai acontecer. As ondas seguem indo e vindo, mesmo se você não vê. As grandes dúvidas desaparecem quando o sol aparecer. Meu bem, não chore. Você já é o que queria ser. Respire fundo. O mundo existe dentro de você. O céu está sempre estrelado, mesmo se você não vê. As grandes dúvidas desaparecem quando o sol aparecer.
So beautiful. It's Tim Bernardis live on KEXP.
Tudo em volta tem me confirmado, bebê, que eu e você somos coisa de alma. O universo tem deixado claro, bebê. Só quem não quer ver não enxerga. Não mora comigo, eu não moro com você. Garupa de moto, amarela. É meu feriado favorito, você. Quem eu quero ser tem que estar do seu lado. Já me apaixonei ficando cego, bebê. Com você eu sonho de olho aberto, bebê. Quero amar e sempre ver de perto você. Vamos explorar Santa Cecília, bebê. Eu sigo você sossegado. Seguir também, vou te fazer bem. Podemos curtir de mãos dadas. Você muda tudo e tudo fica tão bem. Mil cores melhores, amigos. Nós não vamos mais ser tão sozinhos, bebê. Conto com você, pode contar comigo. Já me apaixonei ficando cego, bebê. Com você eu sonho de olho aberto, bebê. Quero amar e sempre ver de perto você.
Oh, I love it. I love it. More, please.
Yes. Esse ar. Assim. Esse ar enluarado, esse ar molhado, ar noturno, bruto e refinado, preto e prateado, puro, denso e transparente, que mexe, que emociona a gente. Esse ar imaginário, esse ar calado, ar profundo, eco do futuro, cheiro de passado, vento já paralisado, mistério fotografado. Esse ar exagerado, esse ar perfeito, o nó no peito é um nó bonito, fé e dó do mundo, restos de um amor profundo. Lua, sede verdadeira, falta algo e assim mesmo é sempre um buraco inteiro.
You're listening to Tim Bernardis live here in the KEXP studios, songs from his new album, Mil Coisas Invisíveis. Now he's moving to our beautiful grand piano.
Just a sec. Cool. We'll sing Falta. Let's see. Música todo, toda, tudo e total, tô à toa. Zoa, voa, vai ver a vida te salva. Salta, solta, que a alma volta mais alta. Falta, 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 oh falta.
Wonderful. Oh, thank you so much. I
Thank
just
you.
feel like I've been transported to another little world for the last few minutes.
Amazing, thank you.
Thank you so much. I cannot stop listening to the new record, Mil Coices Invisíveis, which I
Yes.
think translates to 1,000 invisible things.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's so warm, it's intimate, emotionally resonant. I feel like it's a healing record, and most of all, it's just so beautiful. And there's a real simple, beautiful simplicity to the record. And I feel like your previous album, some people had described it as musical theater, just a lot there, a lot of wonderful ideas and sounds. And I'm wondering, you've taken these songs down to the bare essentials, and it makes me curious to know what the evolution of your songwriting has been like.
Well, I think the last album was a little more like orchestrated. I was trying like strings arrangements and things like this. But in this album, I really wanted to feel like I was playing solo, like only with the guitar or only with the piano. But I wanted to explore like arrangements and stuff, but in a way that they wouldn't like take the scene from the simplicity. So that was an intention. It's good that it you can hear it. So that's great.
Well, it's not an easy thing that you've done because there are still a lot of beautiful textures and you're doing a lot. I mean, there's guitar, synth, piano, you have these beautiful string and horn arrangements, and it sounds like you did pretty much everything. I mean, you composed, played, produced, directed, mixed, and I'm wondering if that was by design or by necessity, maybe because we were, locked down and not able to get together with friends. And
well, I have this band also in São Paulo called Eterno, and I tend to produce and make the arrangements, but we play together, we do the album together. So when I'm doing the solo thing, I like to play the instruments. I really love to finish the arrangements while I'm mixing and make the arrangements sound this specific way. So since I was locked in my house, I had plenty of time to test how things could sound and try to filter all the ideas. This is the hardest, probably, to filter what not to put in the album and things like that. So.
Well, your music connects all kinds of dots. There's tropicalia to samba, indie and folk, and it sounds like you have a lot of influences, and many of them are contemporary, but your music's also rooted in Brazil's verdant musical heritage. And can you talk about where you found inspiration for this new record?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the music from Brazil from the 60s and 70s is so special, and I grew up listening to this. My father and my mother used to put that since we were little. So things like, Tropicalia, like Caetano Veloso and Gilberto Gil, Os Mutantes. So I really loved that. And that kind of sound of the 60s and 70s in Brazil, where it was to everybody, it would play on the radio, but it was very different. It didn't have to be like standard to be in the radio or something like that, like it sometimes is today in Brazil. So it was very crazy. And when I started, I wanted to somehow connect that kind of Brazilian music, try to do again some of those sounds that I felt were so contemporary or modern and people weren't doing anymore, and try to mix that with what was happening in the indie outside Brazil, because I loved so many interesting new bands and new music. So it was like I tried to be in between these two things, maybe.
Well, and I also love the lyrics. You really have a gift as a songwriter, and I actually don't even understand Portuguese, but there's such a fluidity and emotional connection to your songs that I feel like I'm understanding. I almost feel like I'm going to start singing along, but I don't know the words. And I'm curious if there are themes running through these songs, since I'm not able to translate them and to know them. I've heard that you can sometimes write in a stream of consciousness.
Yeah, in this album that happened in like 2 or 3 songs. Like I was curious, like coming here, if people would connect to the songs even without understanding the lyrics, and I was happy to see that it can move someone in some way. But this album has a lot of like different subjects inside, but has something of like, it talks about like being kind of surprised with the existence of existence and things like that. It's more a metaphysical album in a way, but trying to be simple, like just as like beauty is simple or something like this. So I was trying to find some kind of simplicity in this exuberant stuff that I don't know. And then there's some songs I could make it simple and do small lyrics, but there are like 3 or 4 that are like super long lyrics, and I was like, I haven't done an album in 5 years. I'll just do a double LP, and that's okay. I'm doing nothing in my house, so it was kind of like this.
Well, there's a nice mix. You have some real short ones on there, and then some where you can just get lost in the music.
Yeah.
You talked about some of those Brazilian legends, and you've actually collaborated with some exciting legends, Tropicalia legends like singer Gal Costa and Tom Zé, and also people like David Byrne and Devendra Banhart. And I was excited to see that you had worked with the Japanese psychedelic artist Shintaro Sakamoto, who does exciting work, and of course, notable to us here in Seattle, our local sweethearts, Fleet Foxes, is a band you've collaborated with. And when I hear your music, which I discovered through your work and your contributions on Fleet Foxes' last album, Shore, I wasn't surprised to hear that Robin Pecknold became a big fan of yours and listened to your music as he was writing that record. And if I'm not mistaken, the song that you collaborated on with him was the first person that he's ever collaborated on with lyrics. And I'm curious to know what that experience has been like for you, working with the band and now being on tour. I know that Robin's so proud he comes out to introduce you at the shows.
Yeah, it's been like super wonderful, this tour, and Robin is so great. Like, I loved the Fleet Foxes for a very long time, and I could never imagine like 10 years ago in Brazil, like playing small clubs and starting the band, that I could ever even meet the band or something. So I was like pinching myself like through this last tour dates, and I was so happy because they mix Robin music is so beautiful, and to get to see him singing every night is amazing. I was super happy. Like, I love the song that we do together. I got to sing these songs on the show, so yeah, it's been amazing.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you in your busy schedule for making time to stop by KEXP. It's sessions like this that are so exciting for us to discover artists that are relatively new to us and hopefully begin a long relationship. I can't wait to hear what comes next for you, and really appreciate you sharing these songs with us today.
Thank you so much. I love this show for so long, so it's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thanks also to our KEXP listeners for supporting great sessions like this. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and find out more about us. We're listener-powered. We take donations from fans. You can go to kexp.org and help power more sessions like this one and many, many more. Thank you so much. It's Tim Bernardes live on KEXP.
Discover new music at listener-powered kexp.org.